Alright, so the glue is hot, and I am right-handed, so I hope this doesn't interfere too much with you seeing what I'm doing. I'm going to take the flower and I flip it upside down, and I set it off to the side, and I pull the very first layer of petal from the back of it, which is now sitting on top because it's upside down. And I'm going to put hot glue on here in this area. And because I'm going to be cutting, I really don't want to try and have to cut through dried hot glue. It's not fun, and it's not very easy to do. So I'm going to glue right to the outer edges before the petals separate. Okay. I find that gives me good support and still gives me a lot of working room for cutting things. And I'm going to glue a thin layer on the outermost edges. Or try to. There we go. Take the second layer. Now, when you buy them, they tend to be layer upon layer, and I try to off-center them. Usually they're centered directly on each other, and I like to off-center the petals from the next row. And do the next row. Line up the hole, off-center the petals. Now these inner petals are quite small as far as where the space is from the center to the first petal. So I don't have a lot of room. I'll probably still go quite a ways out, which means the center is going to lay a little flatter, at least the first one will. If I go too small in, it won't give me enough of an opening to put the button through. This is where I really need the pliers to help me, because the glue often goes between those petals and burns me. So the gluing of these petals are done. And I'm going to unplug my hot glue gun, and I'm going to get out my hammer, my wood block, and my hole punch. Okay, success! Our hole has been punched. You'll notice that I find glue here and there. Once it's dried, I have to peel off the little glue webs. So I've enlarged the hole, and now I need to cut my X into this fabric so the button can go through. So let's cut. I try not to cut between two petals. That's already a weak point. Okay, I would cut towards the center of a petal more than likely. Okay. Now if it's thicker, I'll have to flip it over and make sure that it cuts all the way as far back as it needs to. Now I have to do the other part of the X. Okay. see if the button will go through. Oh yeah. And then I pull against it to see if it's easily going to pop back off or not. So I'll pull against it, and it's not. Even though the button goes on very easily, it's not going to just fall off. Okay. Now my flower's almost done. The last thing we need to do now is add fray check to these layers of petals that have been cut. I accidentally cut the opening of my fray check a little too large, so it comes out a lot faster than it really should. And because we're doing layers of fabric here, I try to make sure that I get them all, and sometimes I'll even actually go back a little bit. There we go. And so see, it didn't get all the way through on the back side, so I have to do that. Because who knows, maybe you have to go trim it later for some reason. And if you trim it and it's already been saturated in fray check, it should continue to hold and not fray after it's been cut. That's my theory anyways, and I'm sticking to it. Alright, so now we just have to let this dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and start sewing on my button.